Well, hey there, everybody. It's Snackbox coming to you from just a chilly but sunshiny day here in Chicago, Illinois. I'm super amped to be coming to you to talk to you about one of the biggest decisions a Colorado Trail thru hiker has to make sometime between now and July, August, whenever you're doing your thru hike, and that is whether or not to go east or west around the Collegiate Peaks, or to do both. Who knows? We've got a lot of different decisions to make. There are a lot of myths we're going to bust today, or I'm going to give you just the facts so you can make an informed decision when you get down there to Twin Lakes and you are looking up at Hope Pass, and whether or not you're going to hang a right and go west around the Collegiates or go left and go east around the Collegiates. We got a lot to cover, not a lot of time. Let's get to it. It's so cold. It's like super cold. So many of you might know that my first experience with the Colorado Trail was way back in 2015. I decided I would hike the Collegiate Loop. This is a 160-mile loop that goes all the way around the Collegiate Range, and it is incredible. It is a great entry point for those of you who are looking for a hike that's really accessible, you don't need permits, and that you can do this hike in a matter of about 2 weeks or so. This is just a tremendous hiking opportunity for people, and even if you've hiked the Colorado Trail, I would recommend that you go back and do just the loop so you can really take it all in. So that was my first time hiking the east and the west of the Collegiate Range. In 2020, I hiked the Colorado Trail from Denver to Silverton, and on that trip I went east around the Collegiates, and then last year in 2021, when I went all the way from Denver to Durango, I chose to go west. I can tell you about the good, the bad, and the beautiful about both of them, so you can make a really informed decision. So there's one myth I really want to dispel before we get anywhere close to making that decision, and that myth is that the east is easier than the west. That is not true at all. In fact, what I would say is that of all of the climbs on the Colorado Trail, the hardest climb is certainly on the west. It's that climb up Hope Pass, and especially down the backside of Hope Pass. It is incredibly steep, and if you were doing the loop and you decide to do it clockwise, you are going to go up one of the steepest inclines on the whole entire Colorado Trail. So easily number one hardest climb on the whole entire trail. However, the second, third, and fourth climbs, second, third, and fourth, second, third, and fourth hardest climbs of the entire Colorado Trail are all three of the first climbs as you make your way over into the east and really get settled in, all before Buena Vista. So in the first half of the Collegiate East includes 3 of the 5 hardest climbs on the whole entire Colorado Trail. They are really steep, really gnarly. They can be very tough, and they're lower in elevation, and that means they are going to be hotter, which could be good news for those of you if you're going earlier in the season and then you know you want to make sure that you are not sleeping out in really cold weather, or if you are nervous about lightning storms and you want to stay below tree line, the east definitely has much more opportunity for that. Now, the number one argument for going east is that it's the original route of the Colorado Trail. So if you plan to spend a lot of time out on the Colorado Trail and going back and maybe doing it a couple of different summers, then by all means the east makes a lot of sense for that because you can do the original route of the Colorado Trail. That one's really terrific. The other big perk of going east around the Collegiate Range is that you will go right by Mount Princeton Hot Springs. So if you're planning on maybe a resupply, it's super easy to do without having to do a hitch into town, or you can stay the night, or you can plan to have a visit for the day and stay in the hot springs, get a shower, whatever it is. They've got a great snack bar. So going that way is really good. And so you'll have an opportunity then to have people come and meet you much more easily. It's so cold, my brain is literally freezing, everybody. And you'll have a much easier time finding ways to have people meet you because they can go stay at the Mount Princeton Hot Springs for a couple of days, and then you can pass right through and stay with them and then keep moving down the trail from there. Now, the tough part about the east is that actually, because you stay so low in elevation, the views are much more sparse, or at least the types of views you're going to get are very different. If you want big, expansive views of the Rocky Mountains, those are unlikely to happen on the east. In fact, you're going to stay so low and do a lot of road walking, especially toward the Mount Princeton Hot Springs. You will miss a lot of those views, but you will stay lower at elevation, which has its own perks. So you will get some good views, but there are going to be things like views of, there's one lake a little bit down the way. I don't remember the name of it, but I'll put it in the mark below. If you do stop by that lake, it's a great place to stop for the night if you get there early enough, because it tends to fill up. It's kind of small for the parking is small, kind of small by way of the campsites around it, but it's really beautiful. So you'll get some views like that, or if you're really into certain types of plant life, that's a really good way to go. But ultimately, you're not going to get these big expansive views like you'll get if you go west and go up above tree line. The other downside of going east is at the Clear Creek Reservoir. It's the one place, there's about a half-mile stretch through this valley. There's one spot by the Clear Creek Reservoir where you have to have a fishing license to be in the area, and this is really frustrating because it's only a half a mile and the DNR has given no indication that they will ever change that policy. So you will have to buy a fishing permit to just go through that one segment. That can be really frustrating as well. Now, why would you go west? West starts with a gnarly climb. As I mentioned already, it is the hardest climb on the whole Colorado Trail going up Hope Pass. Again, that's subjective, but it is really steep. You go up 3,000 feet over the course of about 4 miles, but don't let that scare you. It is worth it. It is the entry price for admission. Once you climb up Hope Pass, you'll have this really incredible view from there, and the views will not stop at all. Incredibly beautiful throughout the whole entire stretch of the Collegiate West. Now, the biggest downside to going west is that you will be above tree line for a lot more of the entire hike, which means you have to be much more savvy about lightning storms and making sure that you have an exit route in case the clouds push in really quickly. This is just an added consideration. It does help to alleviate that a little bit if you decide to wake up super early in the morning. That way you can make sure you get your miles in, and by about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, when those storms really start to threaten, you can make sure that you are safe and secure in your tent below tree line somewhere. It is avoidable, but it also adds that added complication that you need to wake up earlier in the morning. The other drawback of the Collegiate West is that as you get toward the end of the Collegiate West over near Marshall Pass, there are spots where they allow both mountain bikers and dirt bikes. Dirt bikes are actually much easier to deal with than you would think because you can hear them, so the mountain bikes are actually much tougher. Now, if you go west toward the end of the West, about 9 miles from the end of the Collegiate West, you will pass the Monarch Resort, Monarch, whatever. There's a pass. You'll go right by it. You'll have to walk right next to the building. So you can do a resupply on the west, but it's not going to be until the very end of the West, about 72, 73 miles in. And so that can be a real consideration if you go from Twin Lakes to there. Let me be clear as you make this decision. When I hike the Colorado Trail again, I'm going west. There's no question about it. This is a spot I'd like to go. This is a personal opinion, so I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. But what I can tell you is that if I'm only going to hike it once ever again, the only way I'm going is west. I love the West. It is incredible. The hiking is really good. The most spectacular scenery. The Colorado Trail Foundation has done an absolutely phenomenal job moving the trail off of forest roads and setting you up for some really beautiful campsites. Even in the last 6 years since I did the hike the first time, just spectacular. I can't recommend it enough. Go west if you are trying to make up your mind. I think go west is a no-brainer, but again, that's one snack box's opinion. Go talk to other snack boxes out there. They will tell you something different. Just remember, opinions are like butts. Everybody's got one and they usually stink, right? That said, if you're nervous and you're not really sure, play it by ear. The good news about this whole decision-making process is you don't have to make that decision until you're standing at the base of Hope Pass, so you have a lot of time to make that choice. If you have any questions about the differences between the Collegiate East and Collegiate West, I hope you'll leave them below. I'll do my best to answer them, and I could have missed something in this whole video, so feel free to point that out as well. And I'd also like, if you've done the trail before, share your opinions about going east versus west, because no route is perfect and no route is the exact one that's right for everybody. And so let us know what you think the strengths of different routes are. I'd love to hear them, particularly as I go through making more videos about this. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you all down there in the comments below. Be sure to click like and subscribe, and if you haven't already, be sure to send me a message on Instagram at Backcountry Champion and say, hey, Snackbox, hit me up with an Outside Comfort Zone sticker. I will get it in the mail to you right away. Putting one in the mail on my way home from filming this, in fact, so looking forward to getting that out to you all. And stay tuned, because next video coming out is going to be just we're going to be talking about the differences between the Colorado Trail and the John Muir Trail. Looking forward to sharing that with you all. Hope you're doing well wherever you are. Stay warm. I'm going to go warm up these freezing fingers. Take care, everybody. The Snack Box out.